What's up, everybody? Choppadong back at you with an NFL video today. I released something to our VIP members that is sort of a version of box checkers. I'll show you the quarterbacks portion of it today, explain it to our VIPs so that they'll understand it. But anything that we do, our running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, etc., is going to wind up being probably VIP only, except on occasion we may bring one sheet out or so. But the majority of the sheets are going to be locked up for VIPs because obviously the information is a little bit detailed. It's a little too detailed to share publicly. So, as always, if you want to become part of DFS Army and unlock this type of information for yourself, obviously the website's down there in the comment section, dfsarmy.com. And coupon code CHOP always delivers 20% off. Now, the reason I say that is really simple. Everybody's locking their stuff up these days. There's very little. The really good contributors are locking their stuff behind paywalls now. They've finally learned that giving stuff away for free, while nice, is not profitable. And nobody owes the internet anything. So the quality of information that you get for free is going downhill quickly because the good stuff's getting locked up. You need to get into a website or a community that you can trust to deliver content. Average Joe is educated these days. The days are gone where you just go fill out some head-to-head competition and you find a moron out there who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Those days are over. Everybody is pretty much educated. Anyone still playing these days is educated. Very few people are coming online that have never played before and don't know what they're doing. So while everybody has a base level of education and a base level of knowledge about the sport, you may think that ruins your edge. It actually serves to deliver you a better edge by becoming part of one of these communities. The reason why is because we can take, specifically us in the Army, can take all of those different, viewpoints of the industry, consolidate them together, figure out where the masses are going, and tell you whether or not it's smart and how to get away from it and who to use to get away from the chalk, if you will, and leverage that ownership for yourself. If you sit around and you take all of the free crap, then everybody's going to be telling you to go to the same guy and play the same guy. And by and large, you're going to be in the same hole as everybody else. And that's fine for 50-50s and some cash games and things like that. There's a herd mentality there that actually does work. But if you're wanting to leverage yourself to win some tournaments and win some bigger leagues and things like that, you've got to get away from the ownership, the chalk, and a little bit here and there, and you've got to know where the chalk is to get away from it. So you might want to leverage a lot of the knowledge inside DFS Army to do that for every sport. This is the thing. We don't just sell you NFL and then baseball and then basketball and then hockey and all these crappy a la carte type business models. We are all inclusive, one-stop shop. Every single sport we do is for you. You unlock it with one membership price. Yeah, you could do the light membership, but I think that's a pretty crappy membership, honestly. You only get advice. You only get the tools. You may think you know what you're doing, and you may think you know what you're talking about, and that's fine. And I don't mean to insult you, but you don't get any of the explanation, any of your questions answered, or anything. And a lot of our tools are very specific, very customized, designed specifically for what we want to look at. And that doesn't always come through in a generic NFL.com statistical spreadsheet type situation. You're going to have to ask questions. What is truck stick rating? What are some of these things and where do they come from? And that's where becoming a full VIP is going to benefit you the most, is you're going to be able to ask the experts questions, the people that are using this information daily and the people that created it. You're going to be able to ask them daily. So again, consider becoming a member of dfsarmy.com. Not a hard sell. I don't really care what you do. But I do believe that we're the best value in the industry for what you get, and I do believe that if you're trying to go it alone off of free information alone, I think your time is up. I think your days are gone, and it's very hard to do these days. You're going all of the quality, even Evan Silva and Rich Rebar, two of my favorites, are locked up behind a paywall this year. So they're gone, and that really hurts the overall industry and the free industry, but it actually serves to help those of us that have been a subscription site all along. And we have to pay our contributors. We have to pay our coaches and our experts, and that's obviously why we have to charge a little bit of a service. We used to run a lot through affiliate programs through FanDuel and DraftKings, but as those industries tightened up, they stopped giving away all of their freebie and their benefits and stuff. So we had to start charging a flat out subscription fee several years back, and that's what we did. So hopefully you see that, you understand that, and it's worth it to you to jump inside and unlock the rest of the information, because you really only see the tip of the iceberg out here. But enough's enough. Let's dive in for the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so, and let's get into the quarterback sheet. It's very simple. This is my own creation. I call it box checkers, and it is not the end-all and be-all. It is not, oh my gosh, this guy's a genius. Every pick that he puts out there wins and works and blah, blah. No, it's bullshit. All this is a way to quickly just cut the fluff, trim the fat, and get right to the meat and potatoes of the slate. And we're looking at week 1 main slate. And even at that, you're going to see there are some holes in what this indicates. But by and large, research through Chris Raybon and through Adam Levitan and a few other guys, JM to Win, guys that I follow, that of course my own guys inside DFSArmy.com, that you know the names of the coaches inside there. But these are all guys that I've followed, and we've all started echoing the same things, and we've seen different articles, different content pointing to the fact that the quarterback, if he's at home, tends to produce a little bit better. Maybe not as violently as Jared Goff was last year, but generally the quarterback does better at home. He does better when he's favored. Why? It's a positive game script situation. Yeah, I know there's garbage time, but to be honest with you, it's just better off when it's a full-on onslaught from the very, very beginning, and he's a big favorite. The quarterback tends to do better. Over 24 implied team points, and over 26 is even better. Over 24 is fine. Over 26 is even better. Those numbers are statistically proven to correlate highly with fantasy production for the quarterback. So you want to pay attention to those. QBR. Quarterback is an efficiency-driven position. I know opportunity is everything. The more he throws the ball, the more he has a chance to throw the big touchdown or pile up yardage or what. Yeah, that's all true. But if he's not an accurate thrower, who gives a shit if he throws 65 or 75 pass attempts? That may be what it takes for him to get 20 completions on the day. Whereas somebody else, like a Drew Brees, might end up, throwing, say, 50 times instead of 75, and he might complete 40 of those 50 passes because he's just more efficient. And an efficient quarterback is going to score more than an inefficient quarterback. And that's why you look at QBR. And I'm looking at a number over about 60 in total QBR. Just go to ESPN.com and take a look. It's a free stat for everybody. AFPA is really and truly, it's kind of like DVOA, only it's fantasy points geared. It's fantasy points allowed, average fantasy points allowed. Where does the defense rank that the quarterback would be facing? Is he the best or the worst? And what does that do for my quarterback's matchup? So when that fills in and we find that number, if we find that number again this year, I'll throw that in there for everybody. And then, of course, pricing, because everything, like we do starting pitchers in baseball, everything, goalies in hockey or whatever, everything is predicated by price. I may love a $9,000 quarterback, but he might not make sense for my lineup when somebody who's just not quite as good, but kind of almost as good, is sitting down there at, say, $7,000. That would be a $2,000 price difference that I'd be an idiot to pass up. So I'm not going to pass it up because, honestly, fantasy sports is about buying things on sale. It's like going to the grocery store with a $200 budget for the week. Yes, I live in the Midwest. Things are cheaper here. But a $200 budget for the week. Do I want to come out with $200 worth of stuff, or would I like to come out with $300 worth of stuff? If I buy stuff on sale, take advantage of the 3 for 10 type deals or the 10 for 10 or maybe some coupons or whatever, then I actually can get more bang for my buck. And if I've got a $200 limit this week, I might come out with $250, $300 worth of groceries as opposed to $200 worth of groceries. And if that's the case, in equating this to fantasy points, I'm going to do better than you on that salary cap budget of, say, $50,000, $60,000. If I get $80,000 worth of production out of my $60,000 cap, I'm going to beat you. If you only get $60,000 out of yours, or God forbid you only get $50,000 out of yours, I'm going to win. So I need to always be looking for things predicated by price, and does it make sense? So when we dive into these particular salaries and then these particular columns, what we're looking for is quarterbacks that are at home, are favored, are implied to score over 24 points, implied to score over 26 points, have a high QBR rating, and have a good defensive matchup in terms of they're facing a defense that allows points to the fantasy quarterback. That's a good sign across the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options here. If we check 2 boxes, it's not as good as if we check 4. Does that make sense? That should make sense to everybody. This is not rocket science. This isn't, oh my gosh, this guy's Newtonian in his thoughts. Socrates has come back to life. No, it means we're just whittling down the fat. If somebody like a Matt Ryan only has QBR going for him because he's not at home, he's not favored, he's not implied to score 24 points this week, he's not, he is a good, efficient quarterback, and we don't know his AFPA yet. But if he only has 1 or maybe 2 boxes at $8,000, he's not as good as, say, Carson Wentz, who is at home, is favored, is implied to score over 24 points, has a high QBR also, and is $400 cheaper. Pretty simple, right? Lamar Jackson will come back to him. Patrick Mahomes might surprise you. He's only a 3-star quarterback. Well, if he was at home, he'd be a 4-star quarterback. If he was more efficient, I don't know why he's not up there in QBR, but he's not for 2018. So 8,700 it is. And I really want to think that I missed that box somehow because I thought he was a pretty efficient quarterback throwing 50 touchdowns last year. But for now, until I double check that, no, he's not. So that's a 3-star quarterback. 3-star quarterback at the most expensive on FanDuel and the most expensive on DraftKings isn't going to be playable. Sure, in tournaments, take a shot on it, but I'm talking about what you have to ask yourself this year. What is the best combination of floor? What's the safest floor we can get out of who has the highest safe floor? And then who is in a spot to test their ceiling today? If you can say yes to both of those, yes for high floor, yes in a spot to test his ceiling, there you go. Mahomes is always in a spot to test his ceiling. But this week, probably not as much down in Jacksonville with a good defense. Now, granted, the defense isn't going to stop him completely, but he's probably not going to run away with a GPP winning type performance. Now, he could if you catch an outlier. But I want a combination of both floor and ceiling. So I'm looking at Mahomes and going, yeah, you're a little expensive to take that chance on. When I can drop down $1,000 or maybe even $2,000 and get somebody who's also a 3 or a 4-star type of quarterback. Nick Foles, 2 stars, 6,500. Baker Mayfield at home, favored, over 24 points, over 26 points if Vegas happens to be right. He's not efficient yet, but that's okay. He's going to score a ton of points apparently. And out of these ton of points in a passer's league, and he can run a little, but as a passer, out of a passer's league, that's 3.5 touchdowns implied. Maybe 2 of those go to him. Throw for 250, 300 yards, couple of touchdowns, maybe run for 30 or 40 yards. Boom, you've got yourself a value type of situation for $7,900. It's almost $1,000 different than Pat Mahomes. In a little bit better situation because he's at home. Okay, Jared Goff, favored, not home, but he is favored. Applied to score over 26 points, and he's efficient as hell. $7,800, so $100 cheaper than even Mayfield. You might say, well, I'd rather have the home court, but go for it, man. These guys are in play. That's all I'm telling you. Carson Wentz is in play. Kirk Cousins, to a certain degree, is in play. And you may think that's stupid, but take a look at who they're playing this week, and you'll understand that game could shoot out. It's one of the higher totals of the week of week 1, so it would be something to pay some attention to and dive into a little bit. And that's all I'm saying. Dive into Kirk Cousins a little. Dive into Carson Wentz a little bit. Yes, we know what Patrick Mahomes can do. Dive into Baker Mayfield. Dive into Jared Goff. Jameis Winston, 4 stars. He's at home. He's favored. He's implied to score over 24. He's an efficient quarterback. Now, how he is efficient and Pat Mahomes isn't, I'll never know. But that's what it looks like so far. $7,500, so cheaper yet. $400 more. Now we're down $1,200 off of Pat Mahomes. And we look at Kyler Murray, down $300 more. He's only a 3-star. He's not implied to score 26 points. Could he? Sure. But right now, Jared Goff's implied to score more points as his team. Now, we know that Todd Gurley might be a big factor in there if his knee is healthy. All I'm telling you is that you need to be looking at maybe a Kyler Murray. Andrew Luck's only 2 stars at $8,300. That's a big price for just 2 stars. I would probably say you can skip him this week. Phillip Rivers is a little bit of a shocker. Home, favored over 24, and efficient. Boom, $7,500. So now you're debating between him, Jameis Winston. You look at their game logs. Maybe you think he's more consistent than Jameis Winston. Maybe you think Jameis Winston has more upside and they've got similar floors. These are the questions that you need to start asking yourself. These are the questions that our coaches will be debating inside DFSArmy.com. But you've at least narrowed down your player pool to kind of some good choices to start contemplating. You've thrown out Colt McCoy, and I know you probably threw him out anyway. But if you do this every single week, you're going to find some surprises. Like a lot of people would be looking at Matt Ryan. You wouldn't realize that he's not in a really good situation. It would be an outlier if he scores really, really well. All that means is save him for your tournaments if you love him. Don't run him in cash or league type play. Cash or league type play, stick to your Wentz, Mayfield, Goff, Winston, Rivers, Prescott. We didn't talk about Dak, but Dak's in a situation with Amari Cooper where he turned it up a notch last year because he had a weapon. If he has Zeke back, it didn't look like they needed Zeke last week, but if he has Zeke back, it's an ultra safe situation because they're at home, they're favored, and they're implied to score over 26 points. Dak should be a little bit more efficient than he is, but he's, and he may become that way with Amari Cooper. But at 7,500, he's one of the favorites. Him, Mayfield, maybe some Rivers if you want. You know what I mean? These are the types of things you're looking at. And then, of course, what this doesn't pick up on is the overwhelming floor that a rushing quarterback can have. So your Josh Allen in Buffalo, your Lamar Jackson, he's only got 1 star here, but this is where the system is a little bit flawed, and I'd call bullshit, because he's not at home, so he's going to run. He is favored, that's a good thing, but he's not implied to score over 24 or 26 points. That's interesting, because he's going to handle some of this. Is like the old Cam Newton, and Cam Newton's another one, actually, that could be considered. But this is the situation where if he's going to be leaned on to run, 60 yards is 6 points right there for you. Runs one in, it's 12. So you're already sitting on a pretty hard floor of 6 to 10 points. And he's got increased weapons this year. And he's got an offense that is kind of tailoring towards his skill set. So maybe this year will be a little better than last year. If this year's better than last year, you'll see more ceiling games out of him, which we did not see last year. But you saw a hell of a high floor because of his legs. So if he's already starting with a hell of a high floor, and he's only 7,400 or 6K on DraftKings, then what you're looking at is a decent cash game pick pretty much week in and week out. You can cherry pick some of the spots. You can look for some of these other columns to kind of check the boxes, if you will, to go back to the box checkers theme. But what you're looking for is somebody like a Lamar Jackson to be a little bit sneakier. Now he's not going to be sneaky because a lot of people are going to like him because he runs. But that brings you a very, very high floor. And if the floor is always there, then all of these boxes are going to do is fill in the ceiling potential. When he checks 2 or 3 boxes more than what he's, they're at home, he's favored, and he gets over 24 points, and he's facing a bad defense that allows, has a high AFPA that allows a lot of points to the quarterback, the opposing quarterback. Boom, that's a 4-star spot. And when that's a 4-star spot for a running quarterback with a high floor, you've got yourself a good floor game and a pretty decent shot at a ceiling game. And that's what we're looking for. So right now, just looking at this chart alone, count on the 4-star guys. Prescott, Rivers, Winston, Goff, Mayfield, Wentz. There's 5 quarterbacks for you to pick from right there. 7,600. 7,900, so I'd probably be going to 7,600. 7,800, probably going to 7,600. 7,500, okay, now I might be looking at 75 or 7,600. 7,500, 7,500. So I got 3 75s, a 76, 78, and a 79. Doesn't look like I need to spend $8,000 for a quarterback on FanDuel. Now, if I look over here on DraftKings, it gets a little bit more dramatic. You can pause the video and go back and look at those. But what I do want to show you again is that I have this all tabled up, and I'll briefly walk you through the columns. This is all last year's stuff. But at running back, home, again, that is high correlated to running backs scoring points. Favored, again, 18 plus touches. And we're going to be looking at things like snap count, because snap count correlates really, really well to fantasy points. Rushes inside the 10 as opposed to maybe just the red zone. Does he get third down work? Is he a pass catcher? Is he facing an AFPA, a bad defense to running backs? And then his pricing. And we're going to count those boxes up and we're going to check them off as well. Wide receivers are a little bit different. 8 targets, red zone targets, 25% percentage of the workload. Is he a road dog? Believe it or not, road dogs, because of garbage time, road dogs get a bump in fantasy production. Under 18 implied points, yes, garbage time. Over 27 implied points, yes, juggernaut offense. AFPA again. Tight ends, here's a fun one for you. 8+ targets, red zone targets. Of course, you want red zone work. Over 24 implied points, home, favored, and AFPA. Defenses, simple. Are they favored? Favored by more than 6. They get a double check mark, favored by more than 6. Are they implied? Is their opponent implied to score under 22 points against them? Under 20? Under 18? If it's a 17, boom, there's 3 checks right there. You give me someone who's favored by more than 6 points and their opponent is implied to score under 18 points, and whammo, I'm going to love that defense. And it worked very well last year, very well. But what we're looking at is we're looking at in conjunction with each other and price. Where's the bargain? Who are the bargains? Because that's what we want to be gambling on. And then, of course, kicker, because FanDuel still has a kicker. Is he home? Is he favored? Is he implied to score over 24 points? And does he have a defense that allows a lot of points to kickers? And then again, let's take the cheapest one that's in a good spot. He's a 3 or a 4-star type of kicker. Then let's take the cheaper one. Why spend more than we have to? So we're really going to base this a lot on price. We're going to go back and check these boxes and figure out who's in the better spots, matchups. We're going to compile a player list according to that, and then we'll dig in and research those players. I guarantee you, your tournament winners are not always going to come off of this list. But your cash game safe plays and your hybrid lineup type league type plays that you want a little bit of upside but still want to carry a floor, those types of plays will come off of a list like this very efficiently, and you don't have to put in any of the work because I'm going to be doing it for you all year long. So if you like this type of information, of course, you subscribe to DFSArmy.com. You use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, trigger that 20% off discount. Get yourself in here, trigger the coaching so that you can ask the questions, because this is a direct video in response to being asked the question of, hey, I see the table, that's great, but what the hell does it mean? So there you go. There's your explanation. And we'll go into a lot more detail as the weeks come out and we lead up to week 1 and we go through box checkers year by year, or week by week by week. Because that's what we're going to do for our Army VIPs. We're going to deliver coaching notes. I'm not coaching this year per se. I'll do these types of things, but our coaches are proven winners, higher volume players over there, and they're going to give you their cash plays, their hybrid plays, their GPP plays. They're going to formulate player pools for you too, and you could obviously take this player pool and go cross-check it with theirs, or vice versa, or anywhere around the industry that you also go. We would just rather you stop here. If you like the videos, you hit the like button, little thumbs up. If you like the content, you might even subscribe to the video and then turn the notification bell on so that you can get them dropped right to your phone when I release these videos. We're at 20 minutes. We're going to bail. We're going to get out of here. We'll come back, maybe do some MLB or maybe some PGA or something like that someday, but right now we're focused highly on football, so that's what we're going to be leaning towards. Hopefully you like it enough to jump inside and give the coaching a shot, because I guarantee it's going to improve your game one way or another, because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know that we can always ask people and learn, and that's how we increase our edge in daily fantasy sports these days. So take care. Hopefully I see you guys on the inside, and don't forget to give me a follow at Chopadong out there on Twitter. Love talking to you out there too. Peace out, homies. We'll talk to you in a couple of days.